How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sundays, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern, Saturday mornings with Jim Valley, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 Eastern, and it is Monday on this show, and you know what that means? We got a lot to talk about over the next couple of days, and a lot to talk about based on the last few days. We had the SmackDown show on Friday night, where I thought they did an excellent job building up the Roman Reigns LA Knight match. Because you know what? Regardless of what Dave might say, I would classify LA Knight as a weak challenger. Not a man on earth or woman believes that he's going to be beating Roman Reigns at the pay-per-view. And so when you have a guy like that nobody thinks is going to win, well, you got to do everything you can to make people think that maybe he can win. And that was the focus of the show on Friday night, so we'll tell you about that. Saturday was Collision, and that was the day that we got the World Heavyweight Championship match on 3 days' notice, MJF and Kenny Omega for the title, and it was an excellent match. We'll tell you all about the Collision show. We've got Raw coming up tonight, as well as the NXT Halloween Havoc Night 2 coming up tomorrow. And we have matches for both of those shows, including an NXT team that is being likely called up to the main roster. They actually have a Raw match tonight, and depending on what happens tomorrow might be their last regularly scheduled NXT appearance. We have also got some notes on the upcoming AEW Pay-per-view. Ronda Rousey made a surprise appearance at a wrestling show this weekend and is now booked to wrestle for, of all places, a Pro Wrestling Revolver. She will be making her return to professional wrestling. So we'll tell you about a little bit about that and plenty more. So we are live today on YouTube. You can chat. You can join the fun. Mondays, live and free on YouTube. We're going to be listening to the chat, see what they got to say, and plenty more. So stick around. Back in a moment. Observer Live. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Alive. Mike Sempervive is, I don't think going to be here today. But fear not, I've got a replacement. Yeah, it's our usual replacement. Filthy Tom Lawler is going to be joining us at some point here very soon. And we got a lot to talk about with him. There's actually not going to be a Filthy Tom Lawler regularly scheduled show today because I got an Invisalign appointment at 2 o'clock. And I suspect they're going to tell me I need more inserts. So that's the update. But he's going to be on here momentarily, and we could talk about the New Japan show this weekend and a lot of other things. But as I noted in the opening segment, Raw is tonight. And, of course, tomorrow is NXT Halloween Havoc Night 2. I really enjoyed Night 1. Night 2 is tomorrow. And tonight on Raw, from the Bon Secours Arena in Greenville, South Carolina, the prestigious Bon Secours Arena. Oh, you got 5 things scheduled for the show. It is Seth Rollins versus J.D. McDonough. It is DIY versus Imperium. We've got a trick or street fight with Natty and Chelsea Green, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. Dominic Mysterio will be facing Ricochet, and Xia Li will be facing Candice LeRae. Alpha Academy issued an open challenge last week, and it turns out that the open challenge was answered by the Creeds from NXT, the Creed brothers. And the Creed brothers are going to be on Raw tonight. Now, last night on the show, Dave reported that it appears the Creeds are being called up. He did note it's not 100%. Now, what I heard this weekend was that tonight's a big night, and it's kind of like a, here we go, main roster, live. They've done some main roster shows before, but this would be the first live Raw or SmackDown match for the Creeds. Obviously, they've done plenty of live matches in NXT. And if things go great tonight, and if they do their match at Halloween Havoc tomorrow and they lose, then that's probably it for them. They're probably being called up to the main roster. I was also told that despite it being reported it's the Creeds, it's actually the whole crew, the Creeds and Ivy Nile. So it's not going to be a deal where, you know, Legado del Fantasma gets called up, but their manager's left behind. If the Creeds are going up to the main roster, it appears Ivy Nile is going with them. So it should be. I see no reason it shouldn't be a great match. Alpha Academy's awesome. And, the Creeds got called up. The Creeds got called up to NXT way before they were ready. It was when NXT moved to NXT 2.0, and they had to call up a whole bunch of people that originally were not ready to be called up yet. But because everything changed with NXT 2.0, we ended up seeing a ton of very green talent on the show, and the Creeds were among those people. So the Creeds got called up to NXT, and like those first few months with the Creeds, they were so green, and watching those matches, you know, we mentioned it before, it was like watching UFC 1. It was just like a train wreck. You didn't know if somebody was going to die. It was just, you couldn't take your eyes off it. And in the last year and a half, they've improved dramatically. And as I talked about last night with Dave, yes, you could say maybe they need more time. But there was another guy, and a lot of people compare Julius to this guy, and it's Brock Lesnar because, you know, WWE loves Julius. They think he's going to be a singles superstar. And the thing with Brock Lesnar was he was also called up too early. He was called up too early to the main roster. And what happened was, even though it was too early, he immediately was thrown in the mix with some great, great workers. And, it was probably 3, 4, 5 months he was up to speed. So I think that with the Creeds, you bring them up to the main roster, you have them work great teams and great tag team matches. I think they'll be brought up to speed quick enough. So I would call them up. And we got Filthy here on the line, Filthy Tom Lawler. What's going on, Tom?
In action.
Yeah, what do you think about these Creeds?
I think they're green, but what I think is that they're money, baby. Yeah. I love these guys. Like you said, early on it was like watching UFC 1. It was a train wreck. You don't know what's going to happen. And they still have a little bit of that, but that's what's so intriguing about them, right? I think that they are a breath of fresh air. I obviously am partial to anybody coming in with a spectacular amateur background like these two do, and I can't wait to see what they do on the main roster. I hope they don't split them up and have them feud, even if they do see Julius as the big single star. You know, there's definitely a place for Brutus as well out there. So I'm glad that they got brought up. I thought they were getting brought up a few months ago.
Yes.
But they didn't.
You know what's funny about Brutus is when they first got called up, all I heard was, oh, man, they love Julius. Like, Julius is going to be a big single star. They're super high on Julius and this and that. And they got called up to NXT, and I watched the matches, and I was like, bro, this Brutus, this is the guy. This guy's awesome. He's a big, thick powerhouse. He's not as tall, but, like, at the time when they called up Julius, he did not have the physique that he has today. He was kind of a little skinny and, you know, I shouldn't say skinny, but, you know, you did not look at him and think, you know, this guy's going to be a Brock Lesnar someday. You did not think that at all. And, you know, as I watched them, I was like, man, I don't get it. Like, nothing wrong with Julius, but, you know, everyone's raving about him. And to me, like, Brutus is more impressive than he is. So time passed, and it was probably about nine months, a year later. And now, man, I see it. This Julius, this guy's going to be great. He's tall, he's got a great physique, which is, of course, what they like. And his promos, like, he does a great promo. He can be wacky. You know, they like wacky. He can be serious. Makes a great comeback. I mean, I still love Brutus, but now I see what they saw in Julius. We'll see how they do tonight against Alpha Academy. Tom, how'd you do this weekend? How was that New Japan show?
Can you do me a favor?
Yes.
Can you get a hold of Matt Farmer and see if he'll pay for the tetanus shot that I have to get after being leveled with this disgusting Pacific Northwest championship that cut me?
Really?
Yeah. Gabe Kidd, as I had him on the run, I had him in a choke, hit me with a low blow to the gonads, and then hit me with the Pacific Northwest championship belt, which was all spray painted. It's falling apart. And I was unfortunately defeated.
I heard that old Gabe Kidd was on the show Friday. Mike, he ambushed you.
Oh, you heard, did you? Mike ambushed me.
Listen, I tried
so
hard.
You had nothing to do with it?
I said,
Rocky had nothing to do with it?
I said, we should tell Tom about this. And Mike's like, no, man, it'll be great. And then Dom jumped in. He's like, no, don't tell the guy. It's great radio. I was like, well, it's your show. I ain't going to be there. So they did it. But I was Team Filthy, as I always am. Even though you've never bothered to get me a shirt, you've never officially inducted me, nothing.
Because you're not in.
Yeah, because you're
not
a jerk.
in the team.
No one's done more for you than me. Maybe Rocky.
I'll tell you one thing you've never done.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
And that is sign some boobies on your way down to the ring like I did this weekend. I walked down the ramp, I look to my right, and what do I see? Filthy Tom sign my boobs.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty exciting.
Very nice.
So there was a New Japan show this weekend, and the only thing that you want to talk about is signing some young lady's boobs. How was the show? How did you do? What should we go watch?
She has a great personality.
I'm sure she does.
What you should watch is the whole show. I'll tell you what, I've heard some complaints. There's always complaints about the production on these shows, and I'm guessing the crowd wasn't mic'd very well, because I can tell you from being at a lot of shows in Las Vegas, the crowd was especially hot for a Las Vegas crowd. And just top to bottom, Brian, since there is a lower number, I guess, of these New Japan Strong shows, the quality is certainly high. And I think you should watch the entire thing, top to bottom.
All right. Well, hey, listen, we'll talk.
Show.
We'll talk about it after the break, Tom. I want to hear the highlights. Back in a moment, Observer Live.
No fish could swim this far upshore.
Yeah.
Shoulders ran like the wind, but he could find no peace.
Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Filthy Tom Lawler is joining us, as well as everybody in the YouTube chat. Show's free today. Show's free on Mondays. Chat along, including Ninja Tyler Black here, who says that you cannot say boobs on the radio. Is that true, Dom? Where'd he go?
As far as I know, that's a new one to me.
Okay, so we can't say boobs?
There's two of them hosting this show. Why can't you say the word?
Yeah, you're a boob. Dom trying to deny that he was a co-conspirator on Friday. Claimed he wasn't even here that day. Huh. Interesting. So, Tom, tell us more about the show, then we'll go on to the rest of the news here. Anything else you want to mention?
Yeah, big title change in the main event. The newly crowned champion Tama Tonga lost to the more newly crowned champion Shingo Takagi, as Shingo defeated Tama Tonga with the last of the Dragon to become the new never openweight champion. And I wonder who he will face at the big Wrestle Kingdom show coming up.
Are you available?
Well, yeah, I'm definitely available. I don't think I'm getting the title shot.
You never know, brother. You
never know.
I saw you do that interview talking about your run as the New Japan Strong Openweight Champion, the most important thing you've ever done in wrestling. Is that what you said?
That is what I said.
Wow.
Would you not agree?
I don't know. I thought it was the chop and rolls, but I mean,
Definitely.
I guess.
Eddie Kingston defeated old Hanare, retained the aforementioned New Japan Strong Openweight Championship, which I have never gotten another title shot for. The only time I've competed for that belt, I've won it, except for that last loss. So maybe I'll get my shot one more time. Julia defeated Hyan and retained the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. And, yeah, great show. Top to bottom. New Japan World. Check it out. An upcoming new New Japan World.
That's right. I actually should have asked. I should have asked our main man Rocky about that last week. There are changes coming to New Japan World, including a slight price increase. But we'll have to find out what everyone's going to be getting for that price. I think it was. I think one of the things was improved video quality. Isn't that what they said?
Video quality.
Yeah.
Also, the big one to me is download ability.
Yeah, I don't really need that.
As a frequent traveler.
Oh, I see. So you can watch it when you're on the plane?
Correct.
I got it. Yeah, that would be useful now, wouldn't it?
I mean, currently I'm paying $14 or something for YouTube Premium, so I can do that.
Yes.
So I would love the opportunity to watch something like Kaz Fujita and Manabu Nakanishi on my phone.
Well, we got NXT Halloween Havoc Night 2 tomorrow with Ilya Dragunov against Carmelo Hayes. I still believe that at some point during the show tomorrow, they're going to add Trick Williams to that match. I still believe that's going to happen, but that's just, speculation as a viewer. Dominic Mysterio versus Nathan Frazier for the NXT North American title. Chelsea and Piper defend against Thea Hale and JC Jane. You've got the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament Finals with Kalani Jordan and Lola Vice. Braun Breaker faces Mr. Stone.
Brian.
Yes, Tom.
Can I ask, because I haven't really seen any of her in action, how's Lola Vice?
It's funny. I watch Lola Vice, and I'm very impressed. And Dave watches Lola Vice, and he is not impressed. So you can make of that what you will. I think that for her level of experience, I think she's pretty good. I mean, I'll just say that, looking at the brackets, when they had all of the women listed for the breakout tournament, it was like, well, it has to come down to Kalani and Lola, because they're, the two best in this tournament by far. And that's what it came down to. But I think she's going to make it, for sure. And then Tiffany Stratton and Fallon Henley. And then the Creed brothers versus Angel and Humberto in a tables, ladders, and scares match.
Ooh.
And I was going to mention this when I was running down the Raw lineup. They've got a trick or street fight tonight with Natty and Chelsea Green. Okay? And last week on Halloween Havoc, they had two spooky matches. They had the Devil's Playground match, and they had they called it a lights out match, where they actually turned off the lights, which I was just aghast that they did that, because you couldn't see anything. But anyway, then on Collision this week, they had a women's spooky match. It was Hikaru Shida and Abaddon in a Fright Night fight. And the match was not good, and the crowd was absolutely dead. And the only thing that they cared about was, at the end, when the women started attacking each other with pumpkins.
Were they dead because they were playing along with the Halloween theme?
No, I know what you're trying to say, Tom, but they just did not get into the match at all. And listen, this is not just for me watching, because I know we got hardcore AEW defenders. I knew at least 3 people that went to the show got back to me after the thing. They go, nobody cared about that match. Nobody cared about the, Starks and Dax match. It was just, there were certain things the crowd didn't care about, and this was one of them. So I watched it, and I was reviewing the match, and I said, there's nothing wrong with doing something that WWE would do, because they had just done 2 of those matches on NXT. I said there's nothing wrong with it. But what you want is for your version of the WWE match to be at least as good or better than whatever WWE is doing, right? And this was miles and miles below the 2 NXT Halloween matches. Well, then they announced that Chelsea Green's having a trick-or-street fight gimmick tonight. And maybe, Natty's in it, so maybe it'll actually end up being pretty good. But I think that by the time tonight is over, it is possible that maybe that Collision match won't look so bad in hindsight. But I guess we'll see. I guess we shall see. Do you realize?
Weeks ago, Brian,
yes,
the MLW show I did had a Chamber of Horrors match brought
oh, yeah?
back. with the guy getting electrocuted in the ring. Well done, actually.
Oh, well done electrocution. What does that mean? He died?
Way better than the original.
Well, all I know is that Chelsea Green is one half of the women's tag team champions, and she has never, ever won a singles match on Raw or SmackDown. Ever. And I don't think any of them have gone more than about 3 minutes. So my hopes are not high for this, but I've been wrong before.
She did, to her credit, actually control much of the match against Shotzi on SmackDown.
You mean the one where she also lost?
Well, yes, that
Yes,
one.
okay.
Because she was showboating.
Yes. Well, we also have this, Tom, right up your alley. A famous former UFC fighter has returned to professional wrestling, and I'm talking about Ronda Rousey.
Didn't see this one coming.
Ronda Rousey randomly showed up at Lucha Vavoom on Thursday, and she teamed with Marina to beat Brian Kendrick and Taya Valkyrie. And so it was like, wow, that's odd that such a thing would occur. And then this weekend, I was sent the poster. November 16th in Los Angeles, it is Wrestling Revolver, and Ronda and Marina are going to be teaming up on that show in an official tag team match. So that's a pretty interesting thing that's happening right there. They're teaming up together on Revolver. And, part of it is that it's in L.A., and I'm sure that Ronda, wants an opportunity to do, her thing with Marina, a longtime friend. And, Revolver, it's, they're, I think Marina's one of their projects. And so this all managed to come together in a quite amazing way. And here we are. It's November 16th. It'll be on Fight TV, and all profits from ticket sales will be donated to the Lahaina Wildlife Relief. So if you're in the area, check it out. Moxley's on the show. Swerve, Alex Shelley, Mike Bailey, and Paul Walter Hauser will all be on the show on November 16th.
Wrestling Revolver, of course, Sami Callihan's
Yes.
promotion. They just did a women's Grand Prix.
Yeah.
I believe Renee was on this show talking about it,
Yes,
right?
she was, yeah.
That which was won by your former partner, Billy
Yes.
Starks,
Yes, Billy
of
won.
all people. The newly free agented Sami Callihan.
Yeah.
I may mention. I believe Revolver making their West Coast debut. A lot of free agents out there on that market,
Is that right, Tom?
From
Are you
what
a
I
free
hear, I
agent
don't
right
know.
now?
No.
Okay. Because when you are a free agent, what you want to do is advertise that fact so that then, you know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be a secret when you become a free agent. You know what I mean? Are you a free agent soon, Tom? I actually don't know. What in the hell was that noise?
That was my answer.
That was your dog answering the question? It's probably barking, go! When we get back from the break, Tom and I are going to be reviewing some shows. Did you watch Collision? I know you watched SmackDown. That's our beat.
I watched SmackDown on Rampage and Fury Ngannou.
Oh, really? All right. Well, listen, we don't have time to review all of the shows. So when we come back, we'll get to Tom thoughts on the Ngannou fight. We'll get the main event of Collision, and we'll get the main angles on SmackDown. So stick around, everybody. Back after the break. Observer Live. Well, we're back here on the show, and Filthy Tom Lawler is joining us here. And, Tom, there was an Ngannou fight this weekend, and we were talking about it on Observer Radio last night. And Dave goes, "Did you watch the fight?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "I can't believe you didn't watch it." He was baffled. So then he starts reviewing the fight. And then, after a while, he goes, "I think people are just getting sick of these freak show fights." He goes, I got like a dozen friends, and they order all the pay-per-views, and not one of them ordered it." And I was like, "So why are you asking me? Why are you appalled I didn't watch it? Sounds like none of your friends watched it. Why are you all over me? I didn't watch this fight." I know it's historic, but, here's the thing. Yeah, it's historic in the sense that you had a 0-0 boxer, an MMA heavyweight championship caliber fighter facing the boxing heavyweight championship of the world. But, yeah, I know it's historic, but it didn't feel historic. It doesn't feel... No one cares about that anymore. They would have cared about it 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, or whatever. But nowadays, clearly... it's not something that people are like, "Oh, my God, if I miss this, I miss a historic event." And that's, I think, why a lot of people didn't buy it. What did you think, Tom, of this fight? Are you mad I didn't see it?
It was a spectacle.
Well, of course it was.
If you enjoy big-time entrances, superstars in the crowd, laughing it up, having a good time, watch guys pound each other's faces in, this was a fight for you. I thought that Ngannou
Tell us what you really think, Tom.
It was a close fight.
Yeah?
That's exactly what I think. I think the first and 10th rounds, I'd have to go back and look at the scorecards, but I would imagine those would be the ones that would have decided the fight. There was a clear knockdown, 10-8 round in the third for Ngannou. I thought that Ngannou clearly took rounds 7 and 8, and then rounds 1 and 10 I thought could have gone either way. I thought Ngannou, watching it live, won the first round, and then they go to the CompuBox numbers, and they're kind of contradictory to what I believed. So that swayed my judgment, but I thought live that he won that one, and really just proved what we all knew, and that is that MMA is the superior art when it comes to fighting. He used a lot of tricks and tactics that you see in the stand-up game in MMA that you don't necessarily see in boxing due to the rule set and how people, tailor their games to those rule sets, where there are a lot of techniques that have been forgotten over the years. And we've seen this, with Artem Lobov beating Paulie Malignaggi in bare-knuckle boxing a few years ago. And now, once again, it rears its head here. Tyson Fury, who normally is able to bully guys around in the clinch and use his weight, was himself dominated in the clinch by Francis Ngannou. And that's something that you don't, normally see in the boxing world too often. So the boxing world at least has a new contender in the heavyweight division. They have a new superstar they can throw into big name fights as long as he at least wins a few more. So I thought it was a win for the boxing world. I thought it was a win for Francis Ngannou, and also it goes down as a win for Tyson Fury. So a win all around, a win for fighters everywhere.
Did you watch the MJF Kenny Omega match on Collision this week?
No, unfortunately, at the very same time, I was being tended to by the medical staff at New Japan.
Yeah. Well, they had the main event on the Collision show, and it was by miles a highlight of the show, and it was an excellent match. I did not think that, Vinny was, he made it sound like this is the best match he ever saw, and I thought it was great. I think that, the MJF Bryan Danielson match was better than this, but, these are comparisons. I mean, as a match, it was great, and it was interesting in the sense that we got a clean finish, mostly clean finish. MJF beat him with his move in the middle of the ring. There was an appearance by Don Callis. He came down the aisle with a screwdriver. And I don't know if they made a big enough thing of it on commentary, but they can always, make a big thing about it later. And that is that Kenny Omega seemingly had him beat. Multiple V-triggers, grabs the guy's corpse, he lifts him up, he's about to hit the one-winged angel. That's when Don Callis came out with the screwdriver. And so he dropped him off the shoulders, he yelled at Don, MJF tried to roll up, but then Kenny reversed the roll-up, and then they kept wrestling. So Don got sent to the back, and he was not immediately involved in the finish. So the way they did it, it wasn't like a screw job finish where when it's over you think, okay, I need to see this match rematched on pay-per-view imminently. But, you do have that story in there where there's a decent chance that Kenny Omega would have beaten him. So I don't think they're rematching anytime soon. Obviously, there's MJF matches with all sorts of people, Switchblade and Wardlow and Samoa Joe. You got to go through all of those matches. But I mean, they did a match where you do want to see it again. Doesn't need to be immediately. Next time can be on pay-per-view. This should have been on pay-per-view. Or to me, if nothing else, you could have built it up a little bit earlier and had it on that Title Tuesday show when they were desperate to beat NXT. I mean, you could have made MJF Kenny Omega. Can Kenny Omega, beat him and retain his record, or is MJF going to be the longest reigning AEW champion of all time? I mean, I would have first gone pay-per-view. I would have second gone Title Tuesday with a month build. This would have been my third choice, but it's a great match. So MJF retains the title, and he will be facing Jay White at the pay-per-view. And also, he has a Ring of Honor tag team title defense at the pay-per-view. And they've announced it will be with a mystery partner. It is MJF and a mystery partner against the Guns for the Ring of Honor tag team titles. Did this man not call you, Tom, to take out Adam Cole, and then it all went awry? Doesn't he have your number, Tom?
I believe technically he called Tony Khan to make the message.
I see.
Yeah,
what do you mean technically? Who called you? I mean, it was you. Did MJF call you or not?
Nah, man.
Okay, well, then I guess maybe he doesn't have your number.
Maybe
but,
maybe it was the devil that called me.
It could have been. But, the other option for this Ground Zero hour match is our own Emmy Award-winning Sean Garrett, who has physical possession of the other half of the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship. So I believe that MJF and Sean Garrett versus the Guns on 0 Hour, I think that's as good a match as any. What do you think?
I think it's going to be Roderick Strong.
That would make the most sense storyline-wise, in fact. Because Roddy did say, I need to be this man's friend. We've also got MJF and Jay White, Karashita, Tony Storm, and Christian, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne versus Sting, Darby Allin, and another TBA. Tom? Do you know Sting? You ever been in the same ring with Sting? Same show? Same anything? No? Darby? You had to have done...
I know Darby.
Yeah, Black Label matches with Darby. Right? Yeah. All right. Well, what did you think of the main angles on SmackDown involving Roman Reigns and your bro, LA Knight?
Hey, they put over LA Knight about as strong as they put over anybody on Roman Reigns during this show. He came out right off the bat, paid Roman Reigns no attention, sat down right at the head of the table, basically punked out Roman Reigns at the end of the show, hit him with the BFT, stood tall. The crowd was going crazy. They've got a superstar in LA Knight. I mean, we knew it, but now we know that they know it. And hopefully, I don't know how much further his trajectory can go upward. You know, he's already in the main angle now in the company, but hopefully he stays elevated up there after this crown jewel match where I expect him to lose to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, who got a shout out actually during the Ngannou Fury fight after Francis Ngannou landed a Superman punch.
Really?
The commentator goes, "That'll make Roman Reigns proud."
Wow.
And I thought, Roman Reigns stole it from GSP, you fool.
Well, I mean,
You boob. Who was this commentator?
you know, I was watching the show, and I thought they did a great job with LA Knight. They did everything they could to make you think that this guy might win. But at the same time, I mean, over and over, they were talking about how, well, you know, it's his first time. First time in this position. First time getting a match of this caliber. First time, you know, headlining the pay-per-view or whatever. I mean, they were setting you up for, well, you know, he ain't going to get it this time, but maybe down the road we'll see LA Knight as champion. But that first time thing they hammered home, I mean, it was pretty blatant, I thought. Letting you know, no big deal if this guy loses this one. He's got many more to come. Although he's like 42, isn't he? He's pretty old, right? How old is LA Knight? Who knows?
I believe he's at least 40.
He's been around for a while.
We do have the internet at our disposal. There's no need to
He's 40.
guess.
Dom says he's 40. And he is correct. Actually, Dom, you're correct at this exact moment. But you'll be incorrect tomorrow because his birthday is November 1st. 2 days. In 2 days. He'll be 41 years old on November 1st. So there you go. Man, that Dom's quick.
Big things at 41, huh? I'm looking forward to some big things at 41.
That's right. You're also going to be turning 41. When's your birthday?
May.
Oh. Well, you're just a young buck.
Yeah. I'm going to keep slumming around until I'm 41.
Exactly, yeah. How do you feel at 40? 40 was when I fell off the cliff.
I feel pretty good the past 2 weeks, honestly, because I haven't had to travel. I had last weekend off, and then this weekend I was home wrestling. But that'll all go by the wayside after this upcoming week.
Why? What do you got coming up? Should I hit your music?
No, please.
Oh.
This Friday, I do have a 60-minute Iron Man match against Ron Mathis in Jeffersonville, Indiana for Paradigm Pro. And then
Why?
Next week,
Why?
Next week, I will go on Friday from the Lone Star Shootout, New Japan, in Dallas, to Relentless Pro Wrestling in Spokane, Washington the next night.
Not going.
To Durham, North Carolina, for Deadlock Pro the next day. And then I'll go back home to Vegas.
Wow. What's going on in Spokane? It's too far away for me to go. And I don't want to go over the pass. Too cold.
The Relentless Pro title tournament. Me versus Funny Bone in the semifinals.
Excuse me, you versus Funny Bone?
It's Halloween season, man.
Not next week. Should be facing...
Turkey Bone?
Exactly. Turkey Gizzard. Back in a moment, Observer Live.
Leg drop.
Sorry, but you don't have your shell yet.
That's it. Opinion. like that.
Let's go, Treehouse.
So your name's Turtle.
Turtle.
Broke for sure.
Figure 4? A figure 4? You can know the figure 4? That's too funny.
You said that 8 times now.
And a sleeper. Where's the Enziguri?
He likes it. Use the ball.
You look bad on that one.
Drop it back.
Oh, just on that. That's it. Super kick. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, he's got it. Oh, he gets crushed.
Back on the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. This Justin here on the YouTube chat's got a great idea. He says Max comes out alone, but then the devil shows up later in the match, makes the pin, furthering the mystery of who it is.
That's good.
Who is this devil? Because then
Whose
you know it's a
idea was
different
that?
guy.
Whose idea was that? Is that Jimmy Jacobs in the chat?
Justin here on the YouTube chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, anyway, as noted, we don't have a Filthy Tom show coming up later on today. I got to get my teeth did later, but thank God that Tom was here. Mike will be back tomorrow. And I guess next few weeks, Tom, you're not going to be doing Fridays because you're a busy man. That right?
It seems that way. But
Yeah.
you never know. I've got a phone.
That's true. Hey, what was the best thing on Rampage? We got about 30 seconds. Was there a Battle Royal this week?
Oh, jeez. I have to check. Good show.
Thanks, Tom.
I meant this one. I don't remember from Rampage. Oh, Kyle Fletcher versus Takeshita.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Go
yeah.
watch that. That's for sure.
And then Don Callis added old Fletcher to his family.
It seems that way. We didn't get a definitive answer, but
I see.
I would. I'd add him.
Yeah. Well, I hope if we get a definitive answer, it's on Wednesday, because I did not watch Rampage, nor did a lot of people normally. But hey, we will have some ratings numbers for you after a while. You know, I can't open the chat without some nerd going, "How come you didn't post them?" Well, the numbers aren't out yet, bruh. It's number one. When they come out, we're going to post them like we always do. So calm down, brother.
The only number you got to worry about is us, number one.
That's right, number one on YouTube. We're going to be back later on tonight, Wrestling Observer Radio, myself and Dave, only for subscribers at WrestlingObserver.com, video.f4wonline.com as well. We were up last night talking all the news. Lots of stuff up on the front page, so check it out. Thanks, Filthy Tom. As always, callers and listeners, chatters, everybody in the studio. We'll talk to you next time, Wrestling Observer Live.